Hi, Bill Carlson again for the really bad news. The really bad news is what the media has been telling you and what everybody's been telling you is that this is the unemployment rate. However, this is not true. This is only people that are filing new claims and for people that still have benefits for 26 weeks in most states. What happens to people that don't get the claim? Well, that's a little percentage up here of people that we should add. So the true unemployment rate is going to be calculated right here. Now, those people used to be, back in the 80s, you used to get 52 weeks of unemployment. That was before Reaganomics and Reagan. And what he did was to make his figures look good, because stats, you can play with them and lie, is he said, 26 weeks. Well, that cuts out half of the people right there. They basically don't get unemployment anymore, but they're still unemployed. They still don't have jobs. Then you've got to add in other people too, because in this figure here, you don't have people that are ill, that are committed suicide, or have even died. And there are a lot of people out there in this figure that have died, committed suicide, or have become ill and cannot work. So add that figure into this figure. Now, let's go to the next range. What about all those people that are not in this 26 weeks and not in this 26 weeks up here? Let's say if they did get 52 weeks, what happens to the people more than a year? Well, some of those people have gone into their own businesses, or they've gone back to school, or they basically aren't working. Well, add that figure into this figure. Now you're coming up with a more true figure. Why doesn't the media report the true figure of what's happening in this country? And let's add something. In this figure here, both these figures, the one thing that isn't taken into account is those people, and this is great if the economists, whoever thought this up and has realized this, is the part-time people. The people that basically are working 1 or 2 hours a week. They're considered to be employed, when in actuality they're not employed. They're struggling to make it by. And then let's take this figure over here. This is the most dangerous of all, because these people are incarcerated. They've had to do things that they shouldn't have done to make a living, to basically feed their families. So you have this group here that have gone into illegal activities and are incarcerated. Add that into the true figure. Now you're getting a better picture of what the true unemployment picture is. Now there's probably some other groups, and we'll say here, down here at the bottom here, this is kind of a figure that came up with the Florida state. It's not a true figure, it's not actual, because in actuality it's based on past years. These are people that are homeless, that have no means of supporting themselves, and a lot of them are vets. And for our country to ignore the vets that fought for this country is a crime in itself. Now, this figure here also includes the growing number of people that are asking for financial assistance, because health costs have become so great, the cost of living has been so great, and people are losing jobs at an alarming rate. But they can't get unemployment, or they can't get any place else, so they basically are asking for assistance. And some people are not getting that assistance. So now add that into the figure. So when you add all this up into this figure of the true unemployment, you'll see that it's probably about 28%. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's outrageous. That's just insane. But in actuality, it's the truth. Now, I'll be reasonable. Let's cut that figure in half. Okay? So now you have 14%. And that's a really conservative percentage, taking away 50% of that figure. But that's way above what they're saying is the unemployment rate. Why can't the economists and the media tell us what's really going on in this country? This country is in dire need. Soon it will be a domino effect. January and February and March are always the worst first quarter of every year, and you will see major problems. I hope President Obama and some other leaders can do something to help the people in this country, especially with health care, especially with living. Just surviving is going to be a major challenge for most Americans. So please, help them as much as you can. Let them know that instead of bailing out these financial institutions with billions and billions of dollars, why don't they start bailing out the taxpayers of the U.S.? Us hard-working, decent people. Thank you for listening. I'm Bill Carlson, and this was a really bad news.